Good afternoon. Let's take a look at what we got going on here. So this is a sheet metal, or is a sheet metal question about a bumper. So doing bumpers like this. So at first I actually thought these were tacks when it was first posted, but it's little sheet metal components, or little sheet metal tabs. I'll show you in the Amazon listing for this product. So you can see it's little tabs holding it in place. So they're wondering, or you're wondering, how to go about building something like this, or doing the sheet metal for odd sheet metal parts. I don't know if it has to be this, but let's take a look at something like this with a similar shape. Alright, so fusion. There we go. I'm going to start by saving, and we'll call this sheet metal. What would you call it? It's an example. Multi-part. So there's actually a lot of pieces to make this work. So the first one would be coming up to this corner and taking a look at what we got going on here. Right now we have this one component that makes up our whole document. And we need to be paying very good attention to this browser bar and how we organize these documents if we want to use multiple flat patterns properly. So I'm not going to get into it right now because I think it'll be easier to explain when we get to the point where we're making the different components and bodies and stuff like that, and explaining why we're doing it at those points. This is not going to be dimensionally accurate. I'm going to maybe just see if I can find a photo or two of the front of one of these vehicles. There's even a picture here. Let's see if we can find some pictures that are good. Just a forward picture. I would, if I had it with me, I would take measurements and all that. So there's a straight on view. Okay, let's go back. Oh, sorry, I'm zoomed in still. I'll zoom again and in again if I have to explain anything. Actually, that's a better picture. Save as. No, did I just save the link as? No, save picture as. Jeep. Front. Okay. So I've got that Jeep front end saved. I'm going to just generalize thicknesses and widths and whatever like that. So let's go 6 feet wide. Not sure how wide a Jeep is, but let's say it's 6 feet. I just want something when I put the canvas on to kind of go by. So I'm not going to get really detailed about everything. I'm going to assume somebody's up to the point of, doing flanges and bodies and doing some stuff like that. What am I even looking for? Downloads. Some basic fusion stuff. I'm going to kind of gloss over to concentrate on what makes this work, or could make it work. Alright, here's our Jeep. Beauty. It's that wide. Okay. I'm going to create a new sketch. I actually want this other sketch to disappear. I'm going to eyeball about center of this vehicle. Alright. Is that straight? Oh, it is. It's damn near straight. Let's call it straight. I probably won't do a very complicated bumper either. There's just a few core concepts I want to get across more so than design a whole bumper right now. So I'm just making a basic bumper shape. Let's say, I don't know, let's say it's 18 inches deep. I'm going to pretend like I have some other profile or side view of this with another canvas that I'm going to be doing something with. So I'm going to get into here and what with the side. Actually, here, let's see if I can find a profile view. Let's actually do this. See if I can find here's a profile view. Watch, this is going to be from two different vehicles, and I'm going to get heckled. Save. Alright, so we got this other view now. Back into Fusion. It's about that tall. Okay. Nope. So none of this has been about the sheet metal stuff yet, but we're going to get there. All I'm doing is making this body that is going to end up being our basis to everything that we're building. Let's insert another canvas. And you could be way more picky and get this really close. But I'm not going to do that. Okay. So now we got this side. Actually, I wonder if I can move that canvas a little bit ahead. Let's see. Edit. Oops. Edit feature. Yeah, I can. Okay. I'm going to project just some of this here. Alright. Let's extrude this piece. Got too much stuff in my way. Have too much stuff in my way. Extrude. This way and the other way. Maybe a little top cutout to it. Let's go do another sketch at the top. I'm going to split this in half so it's mirrored. Let's say I wanted to actually I'm going to project some of this stuff just so it lines up nice. Again, even though it doesn't really matter. Okay. Top. I'm already making this more complicated than I wanted to of a component, but whatever. We're still not into the meat and potatoes of this idea yet. Alright, let's see what our bumper looks like. Okay, we can live with that bumper. Perfect. Let's get rid of some of these canvases so we can see what we have for a body. Alright, that's what we're working with here. Perfect. I'm going to hide this. And it looks like I get a message on the forum. I'm just gonna look if it pertains to this, what's going on. Somewhere I do. I'm gonna just put it in my other screen. There we go. And get back to Fusion over here. Oh, can you use my picture profile? Oh, I could. Or you can use it. Alright. So now we have this body. And we want to turn this body into a few bent parts. So, in the method I do, you kind of will be making it about a... Sorry, I just got a message on the phone. I still kind of got some work stuff going on right now. Sorry, I just lost my train of thought with that message on the phone. Anyhow, you've got this body now, and we're going to turn this body into a few sheet metal parts. And you want the overall thing in your mind to be about the material thickness smaller, because this method will thicken everything by the material thickness. You could do it the exact size and go in too, but let's go this way to start with, and I think you'll see what I'm getting at. So we're going to go into surfaces. We're going to take this body and we're going to unstitch this entire body, which means right now it's a solid, like it's a brick. It's a brick all the way through, right? It's a solid chunk of matter. However you slice this, it's a solid chunk of matter. So by using this surfacing button, I am now hollowing it out. So each panel will become a face with no thickness. So I'll hit OK, and I'll show you what I mean by that. Before it was a body, a big chunk, but now, what's going on here? But now, it's a bunch of faces. Okay? Separate individual component faces. Not component, I shouldn't use that word. They're separate faces now. They're all different bodies. And now let's look at the side. Here, I'm going to just bring that back together. We're going to look in the side here again and see how our browser bar has changed. I'm going to Control Z to, before I did that, what it's called unstitch. So it was one single body before, and then I unstitched it, and it became, no, actually, it became 14 different pieces. Okay, now what we want to do is combine some of these faces back together. So I'm going to zoom out, and there's stitch now here up above. So let's say I wanted to have this piece, and this piece down here as one set of pieces. I'll go in here and go and we're going to stitch those together. Now this is an important part of the stitch menu that comes up, is it gives us a few different operation types. And the one we're going to use is new component. Okay. So now we're going to go back over to this browser bar. So what it's done, it's created this new component here, which is took 3 of the bodies out of this list, combined them, and created a new component down here. And at the exact same time we did that, it changed this icon from a single block to a bunch of little blocks to say, hey, you now have an assembly, which is 2 components. Or, yeah. So now you have an assembly. So I'll go Control Z, and you can see what happened before I created that other component. It's just a single block here. And now when I go forward in time and create that next component, it's a bunch of blocks telling you there's more than one piece below. It's not just one compartmentalized component anymore. It's an assembly. So you can actually see too, because if you click this button here, display component colors, it changes, because it's really hard to tell which components are which components here. But here you can tell they have different colors. So if I could go Control Z before I made 2 different components, you can see everything was under the same component. It's the same color. And I go Control Z, and now they're 2 different colors, this component and this component, because all these bodies are still under the first component. Now what we're going to do is we're going to make a few more sheet metal parts that will complete this for us. I'm going to stitch together, and I guess I could mirror it too, right? So I don't really need to do everything. But I'm going to. Let's say those were my next two parts I was gonna do, and then it gets finish welded on the front or what have you. Okay. I'm gonna zoom out while I do this because it's kind of the same thing, and then I'm gonna stitch together, and you can see below it's created another component. So now I have 1 and then 1 1 and then 2 1. I've got more components here, so there's stitched together another piece. I'm just going to do these ones. There's mirroring or whatever you wanted to do for the other side. Anyways, let's just work on these 3 right now, because that's going to be enough work. So now we have these 3 components. The middle component, the next component, and the end component. Okay, so let's start with this component. We're going to go in here, and I'm going to use 14 gauge because I haven't worked out some of the inside outside with 1/4 inch. Actually, I should just do that right now, so because you're going to have to figure it out too. No, I'm just going to do it out of, yeah, maybe I should. I just don't want to get sidetracked. This could be easily 10 different videos. No, I'm just going to use how I have it set up right now. Just know that you have to have your sheet metal rules figured out. So if you knew flanges and stuff, you would have that figured, that part. So let's go into create on the surface, tab up above, surfaces. And we're going to, let me zoom in here, surfaces. And we're going to go thicken. I'm actually going to try a 1/4. Let's just do 1/4 and see if I can make that work for us. 1/4 inch. I think I have the rules in there for it. So now what it's done, oh, see, now I've almost lost myself here too. So I just went back and got rid of that thicken again. So what I need to do is, if I'm working in this component, I need to activate it by pushing this check mark button. Right now I'm working in the overall assembly. So I want to be working now in this component. So now I'm working in this middle component by itself. You can see it's kind of ghosted the other pieces. And that's good because I almost missed a step. Now we're going to go to the solid environment, select fillet, and we're going to fillet these. And I'm going to kind of make up one here, just based on some experience. I'm going to say it's about a 1/8 inch inside radius. You can figure this out in Fusion too, but I'm not going to get into that right now. So I give it a little bit of a radius, and I do that before I thicken it. So now I'm going to thicken this part. I'm going to thicken it at 1/4 inch. Good. Now under this part, I'm going to go into sheet metal, and I'm going to convert to sheet metal. Alright, now that part's been converted to sheet metal. You can see down here below, it's no longer a box body, it is a sheet metal body. So for this sheet metal body, we're going to want to add those tabs. So let's unfold this, and this can get infinitely more complicated depending on what kind of components or structures you come up with, but we're going to keep it relatively simple. We're going to unfold this, and I'm going to zoom out because it's probably giving you guys whiplash. And now I want to tab those out. So I will create a new sketch. I'll project these bend allowances here, this one and this one. Okay, and let's create a few tabs in here. Let's say they're that wide. In real life, you would spend some time and get some measurements and do whatever you wanted for that part. I'm gonna just mirror them so they're the same. Now I'll extrude. I could have made that a construction line. It would have saved me a few clicks. Okay. We'll refold that back up, and now this has tabs in it. Oops, excuse me. See, now it has little bent tabs on it. So that's our first sheet metal piece that has little tabs on it like that. So the next one would be this guy right here, and so I'll go in and activate this component now. I'll move into the bodies, and I'm going to thicken this. Go into the surfaces tab. I'm going to thicken it. I'm not going to thicken it, excuse me. I'm going to go into the solids tab. I'm going to do the fillet first. Okay. Sorry, I'm still just getting messages like mad. Now I'm going to thicken this. Go to the surface tab, fine thicken, 1/4 inch. That looks like 1/4 inch. Perfect. Now we're going to change that to sheet metal. Convert to sheet metal. Okay. Now I'll unfold that piece. Okay. I'm going to create a sketch on that unfolded piece, which will have these tab in it. Okay, I'm going to try some constraint stuff to make this a little visually nice here. It's not really part of the... Oh, there's nothing over there. That's right. That's why I wouldn't give me that. So I'm going to project the bend allowance line. I might have to just draw off of it here. Give myself a 90-degree line and then see if I can get these guys to be parallel with it. Yeah, sure don't want to be parallel with that. Perfect. Anyways, that's not really part of the whole thing. Okay. Creating a tab here. Some description. Go about the middle. Actually, I want to move that one tab in a bit. And I'm obviously going to try to do it perpendicular because that would look terrible. You could go in here and make them exactly the width you want and all that. We don't want to do a 4-hour video. Mirror it. We have some symmetry now. Extrude. Refold those faces, so now those are tabbed out. So that's great. Looks like we have a crash there we might have to deal with, but that's okay. I'll show you how to deal with that. It's actually good that we have a crash to deal with. Now let's deal with this last component. So we're going to go in, activate that one. Go over to solid. Hit radius. Radius that edge, because the unfold tool won't work properly if it doesn't have a radius that's pretty damn close to the what it would be naturally with the K factor and everything. Okay, let's bring down, I just can't see it because I don't have it open. There we go. Let's thicken now using the surface tool. All right. Now I'm going to convert that into sheet metal. And we'll unfold it. We're just kind of repeating, so. You can see how I'm making different components. If I was doing it, I would have a uniform tab with mirror, please. This. Mirror line that. Okay. Extrude. Okay. Refold. Actually don't need this. Delete. Oops. They're kind of our bumper pieces now. All right. So we have that corner. If you built the mirrored pieces, they would fit in the other side just the same way, and they're all tabbed. So one problem that you can kind of run into is you can see, actually, nope, that's going to work out good. Never mind. So now we need to have flat patterns for all of them, and we want to cut them out of the same sheet. That's the next conundrum that comes up. So the way we deal with that is we need to create flat patterns first. So we're going to go in, and I guess I could have created each flat pattern as I went along, but let's activate component 1, go into the sheet metal body of that component, and now we're going to create a flat pattern. That face. And there we go. We have a pattern for that one. Now we're going to go activate component 2, create a flat pattern within that component, pick a face, there's flat pattern 2, go activate component 3, flat pattern, click face, there's component 3, finish flat pattern. Now we have 3 components. If we want to go back to the highest level here, we can see those components at the same time. There they are. And now we want them all on a flat sheet together. So the way we're going to do that, and there might be one step in here that won't work with the free version, but I'm going to try to make it so it works with the free version. We're going to save. We're going to go up here, or to create, to derive. I'll show you what I'm doing over here. Right now it's selecting deriving the whole assembly. You can see the multi-blocks, the whole assembly. There's the file name I saved. I'm going to deselect that, and I'm going to go over to here, and I'm going to pick the flats. Here's flat pattern 1 I'm going to pick. Here's flat pattern 2, and here's the third flat pattern I'm going to pick. And I'm going to hit OK. And now what it's done is, and don't worry about them being overlapped, they're not going to stick together or anything, but what it's done is created a completely new file that just sources those 3 flat patterns from the other file, so I can do a nesting and arranging in this environment. So now I'm just going to hit M for move, and you might want to make double sure that it is the component, because there's other things involved like sketches and the bend lines and stuff. So if you start just dragging the bodies around, those things aren't going to come. So make sure it's components here, and I can select this one, move it ahead here. Okay, I can hit M again, select this other one, move it ahead. If you had the paid version, you could use arrange, but I think you're going to end up having to manual nest, which is also fine. You can see the bend lines are still available to us here. Now, the nice way about doing it this way, let's say, I don't know, we wanted to change something, like it wasn't going to work for us the way we'd like. We could go back into here and let's say we're going to cut out a headlight hole in this one. So I'm going to go here. I got to just make sure that I make sure I'm activating the component I'm going to, so I'm going to go in here and make sure I activate that second component first. So I'm just dealing with this part, and I'm going to cut a hole through it. Actually, it's not true. You can do all parts at the same time. Let me go back. You could also be at this upper level, and I could cut through more than one of these sheet metal parts at a time. And maybe that's what I should show right now, more so, because that comes up. Let's say I was going to put a rod right through here for I don't know, to weld a steel pipe in for a flag or something. I'm going to go up here. I'm going to create a sketch. I'm going to use the circle tool, and we're going to put a circle right through here. Let's say we needed a 1-inch hole right through there. Now I'll hit extrude, and see, this is our first component, and this is another one of our components, and this extrude's going to go through both, and it can do that because we're on the upper level, which is above those 2 other components. Those sheet metal components are inside this grader assembly. So if I do work in the grader of assembly, it'll affect all the components. But if I do something isolated to a component, it only happen within that component. There's 5 or 6 key concepts going on, and I should spend the time to put a real video together. Okay, so now I've punched that hole through there, and it's cut its way through both of these. But the beauty part of this is you go back over to here and you don't see anything that's happened yet. But that's because this is driven off of that other sheet metal sketch, but only when you save it. So now that I save it, because this is looking at the last saved file, it goes, oh, wait a minute, something is up here. You see this? So I can go in here, click that, And now it's updated it. And it's updated it by putting those holes in there. In that right there and right there. So that is a very, very nice thing that you can do. So I could go in here now and do all sorts of adjustments to this if I wanted. If I wanted to, I'm going to go more of an overview. If I wanted to come in here, let's say, and I don't know, have a big arc in here instead. Cut through there. Go like that. Save. And now over here in the, I'm going to just turn off the sound because I got to take this call. All right, and you can see that it's updated that now. And you can see this little shadow line here. That's because two of the parts crashed on that last sheet. So let's go take a look at that. So no, we're good. Those parts will be fine. This must have crashed with something else at one time, but it's okay now. Or this thing deleted it when I did the extrude or something like that, but it doesn't matter because you're going to be cutting from the top. Yeah, so now those three components should make that, and you'd probably want another two, so you could go in here now if you wanted, and can I mirror components? Let's see. Sure I can. Mirror. Capture position. Oh, you can. See how nice that is? So now we have some mirrored components. I want to move both of these components. Yep, there we go. Move both of these components. There we go. So you can see actually it's even put that hole through because it's a direct mirror even though there's not a hole over here. So if you needed a unique part on the other side with that, in that respect, you would need to have it different or detached. But what's nice, let's say if we're going to go, oh, maybe I want to put some headlights in this thing, right? I could go into here and add, you know, let's say I'm going to add some kind of fog light. I'm going to use a different fog light in this thing. All right. I should have actually used not a solid line, but or a dotted line, but that's fine. I can change it. But now I'm going to extrude and punch a hole through there and create a. So that's great. It didn't change this side because that's not what we mirrored. But if we go back in here, oh, we still gotta update this. So we'll save. and update this. And now we have some fog light holes, or whatever kind of light holes you want. Yeah, it's kind of handy to be able to do that. If you wanted to put some text in here, you could do that easily enough. And then you can have this also linked to the manufacturing space, so you can have all your lead ins and lead outs and everything figured out with this particular pattern. And if you're just adjusting it or putting a new name in it or whatever, it's not like, there might be some errors along the way, but it will reduce the amount of work a guy needs to do. So I'm gonna just cut some text through here. And if you have weird intersecting things, you might have some issues sometimes, but all in all, it can be pretty good. Do you have a Tin Whisperer bumper in caps? Let's get that nice and big there. 2-inch letters. 2.5. Perfect. And let's get some stencil on that. Gonna have to go 2-inch, I think. I like that one, but let's find another one. That one's all right too. I've populated my font list with quite a few just fonts off of the internet. Forget whether it's a OTF or a TTF style font, but it doesn't really matter because you can convert those fonts back and forth if you need to. Oh yeah, that's what I need. Some Western font would really spice that up. Let's do that. Oh yeah, that's a little too much. Crimstone or Christ tone. Yeah, let's just use that one. We're out into the weeds now of what this video is about. Oh, we're having some fun now. Okay, let's put a little bigger spacing on it. Let's put 1/2-inch spacing. Nah, I want bigger spacing. It's not 1/2-inch, it's, I forget what it's supposed to be, but 100th's too much. 50. A little less than 50. 40 is probably where it's gonna, oh yeah. You could probably go a little bigger too. Maybe a little bigger and a little less. No, that's probably about right there. Yeah, right. Let's explode that. Doesn't like that font. Oh, that font's got little speckles and shit in it. Okay, we don't like that font for doing this. Excuse me, my French Canadian, you know. I need something that's clean and doesn't have a bunch of, I don't need to, I could use that font, but it's gonna be slow and gross. There, that's better, that's good, that'll be fine. Two and a half inches tall, maybe? Sure. Alright, explode. Just turning it into lines, and that's a lot cleaner. Kind of still a little bit of a haggard edge on it, but I think that's the way it's supposed to look. I'm just gonna quick and dirty stencil some of these. Okay, let's extrude. Extrude. This one, that one, that one, that one. Oh, did something not go all the way through there? Oh yeah, ugly. Alright. So that's going to look really good up in the bush. And then we'll go over to here and save it again. And go back over to here and we'll update that and it'll update our flats. There we go. So these are all fully derived. I wonder if I can add an... I'm going to try something here. So I'm going to go even more out into the weeds. I think we answered the question though about doing the tabs and doing those. I want to make this one invisible. And I want to make same... new kind of a component here. I'm gonna make the sheet metal that would like ring around this light to recess it, just as an example of how a guy might go about that. So I'm gonna project that line. Okay. Let's say I wanted it because I want the walls straight on it. 3 inches deep. Make sure we go at the same angle. There, that's what I want. Okay, and move, or not move, but extrude. And I'm just making a block, basically, in that area that I want. You could use flange to do this, too, for sure. Actually, that might even be a way better way to do this. But I'm going to try this way. Am I crazy? Why is that so long? Oh, because I'm not even selecting the right thing. That's how long I want it. There we go. You know, this one you could almost do it a flange, but let's try this. Okay, it's a block. Just thinking about how I want to go about it. Okay, surfaces, let's unstitch this body. I'm going to re-stitch back together a few faces. I'm going to delete a few too. This one can go here. And the, let's say the back can go as well. It's going to have a skew at it, so it might have been kind of a hard thing to do with the flange. Alright, so that's fine. Let's get in here now with the solid tool, the fillet. Or in the wrong one. What's going on here? I think. What did I do here? Okay, delete. I obviously screwed something up. Surface, stitch, this piece, and this piece together, please. And yes, I want it to be a new component. Boom, it makes a new component. Down here, component 4. Oh, that's probably why I couldn't see it. It was right off the bottom of the list. Good. Now let's go into solid, and we want to fillet the edges. Yes, of those. I'm just going to do 3 of them because we're actually going to tear one of these edges. I'm going to just put a tear in one of these edges. Because you can't unfold something that's solid all the way around. That's already basically welded together. So let's just get rid of that now, and we don't have to worry about it. Oops. You can see our history timeline's getting nice and beefy here. I didn't want new body, I want to cut. Get out of here. Anyhow, you're gonna nip a piece out of that corner somehow. Not all clumsy like that. And then we're gonna go into surface, thicken. And we're gonna make that at 1/4 inch too because we want it to be tough. Nice. Now we have a little box we can weld on the inside of that. It's the same measurement as the inside of the box, or should be anyways. I'm not sure why that ended up over, but probably because how I selected it originally. I wonder why. Oh yeah. Because that was way over there for some reason. Never had it in line. That's okay. That's here nor there. Let's say that I did make that the correct length. Okay, so now we have another sheet metal part down here. We're going to create a flat pattern for it. Or it's not even sheet metal yet. Or it is, yeah. Is it? 4? No, sketch. Sometimes it's good to name some of this stuff. Here's number 4. Now we'll get into that. Okay, sheet metal, convert, flat pattern, now I'm not exactly sure how to add a new flat to the existing set of flats, but we're going to figure that out right now. We're going to go into our main overview, top view, get that activated. Excuse me. I'm going to see if I can find derive when we derived on there. Maybe it does not add that way. Let's see how else I can add that. Let's see. If I hit derive again. So this is just something I never had to add another one. Just gonna hopefully it comes up with that same box where I was deriving before. Derive selection to a new design. Okay, well, can I do it from this design then? Derive. Save as bumper example. Flats. That won't let me go back and select from a whole nother thing, will it? Nope. Not sure how I'd add it. See if I can just copy it in. It's not the correct way to do it though. Activate the flat pattern. Sorry, this is a whole different thing. I just really want to see now how you can add a new one into that when you derive. Well, it's that way flat. And it doesn't look like derive is a timeline item either. Anyways, that's something I'm gonna have to figure out. How do I would add that to into the mix from before? Or I would just say screw it, I guess, and just start another one. If I could just go derive again and just take the flat patterns. Let's get rid of that and take all the new ones and just start a new file, I guess. I'm gonna come back to that. I really want to figure out how I can make that work. So here's the 4 different flat patterns. Okay. So maybe that's the way to do it. There's got to be a better way for that, but in time we'll figure it out. Yeah, and there's the little light port. You could still do all little notches for your bend allowances if you felt so compelled. But I can always, yeah, just go back in here and do whatever I'd like. Say if I figured, oh, I'm going to need a wire through here. I could do that, save it, and back over here it's gonna want me to update, and I will, and there will be a little hole now in this piece. So I don't know if that helps, but yeah, there's a lot of stuff here. I'm sure I could make 4 or 5 videos on every little part here, but maybe I'll include the F3D file and you can comb through it and look at the video again. Alright, thanks, have a good one.